When stars bleed, empires fall. The Crimson Signal. In the 73rd cycle of the Celestial Accord, the twin moons of Esker bled red for the first time in 10,000 years. General Kyra Valen of the Astral Sovereignty stood alone on the bridge of the Vigilant Flame, staring at the anomaly burning across the system's edge, a comet that trailed not light, but blood-red plasma. It shimmered with unnatural patterns, pulsing like a dying star. The sight stirred something primal in her bones. "It's not a comet," whispered Lieutenant Jurin, approaching with trembling hands. "Long-range scans suggest organic traces. Living matter." Kyra didn't flinch. "Then we are already too late." They'd spent centuries building their empire across 12 constellations, silencing rebellions, crushing dissident worlds, mining stars until they choked on ash. The sovereignty had become gods among mortals, and gods always believed they were immortal. Until now. The Red Comet was known in forbidden archives as Vaxor's Tear, an ancient harbinger of galactic extinction, buried by emperors who feared panic more than death. Legends said it was not just a sign, but a seed, planted by something older than stars. "Raise the High Council," Kyra ordered, voice cold as vacuum. "They need to see this." But even as the holoscreen flickered with the faces of lords and regents, the bleeding star behind Kyra cast long shadows over their vanity. "It's a myth," shouted Regent Talvek. "We've mapped this quadrant for millennia. There is no—" The comms officer cut in. Signal received from deep space, repeating, in ancient galactic. A strange, metallic voice filled the chamber. "When stars bleed, empires fall. The reckoning begins." Silence. Kyra clenched her fist. "I want full fleet deployment around Esker. No ship enters or leaves. Activate the rift barriers." "What if it's just a natural phenomenon?" asked one of the younger counselors. Kyra turned, eyes glinting with the fire of old wars. "Then let the stars prove us wrong. But I won't gamble with the blood of an empire." What none of them knew, yet, was that the bleeding star was not coming toward them. It had already arrived. On the desolate mining world of Carvan, 4, a boy named Leor watched the red sky split open. A voice not his own whispered inside his head, "Awaken, last child of the forgotten flame. Your time has come." He fell to his knees, screaming as his veins lit up like burning constellations. Elsewhere, on a research vessel buried inside the gravity well of the dying sun Ryloth, Dr. Amara Tay studied the anomaly with horror. Her last transmission, intercepted by the Sovereignty, contained only 5 words. "When stars bleed, empires fall." The fall of light. The storm began without warning. Aboard the Vigilant Flame, warning klaxons wailed through the hull. Space outside twisted and writhed like a wounded serpent, and stars began to flicker out, one by one, across the system map. "Multiple suns going dark," Jurin cried. "We're losing light signatures across the Lurian sector. Entire stars are collapsing, without going nova. It's like something's drinking them." General Kyra Valen remained frozen at the viewport, watching the red pulse intensify across the heavens. The crimson anomaly no longer trailed behind like a comet. It had roots, tendrils of plasma that stretched across space, touching star systems, draining them of energy. Planets shriveled in its wake. Communications fell silent. And then, like candles blown out by unseen breath, their stars went black. "Prepare the fleet for quantum displacement," Kyra ordered. "Evacuate colonies in the Esker Ring." No. But deep in her heart, she already knew they wouldn't escape. Far below, on the surface of Carvan 4, Leor was no longer a boy. His body radiated with impossible energy, ancient glyphs glowing beneath his skin, seared into flesh like memories from a forgotten past. Villagers had fled, terrified by the pulsing red storm overhead and the boy who now hovered above the earth, eyes burning like twin galaxies. He remembered everything. The sovereignty had not always ruled. Once, before they came, there had been balance, an older galactic order governed by the Celestials. And when that order fell, it did not die, it simply waited. Hidden in stars, sealed in ancient codes, scattered across the cosmos. He was their last vessel, born in silence, awakened in blood, and now their vengeance flowed through him. Lior raised his hands, and the sky answered. The bleeding light of the comet pulsed in sync with his heartbeat. Thousands of light-years away, sovereignty warships exploded in unison, their cores unraveling like paper before flame. Inside the Imperial Palace on Nova Prime, Emperor Kale Zaros watched it unfold on a massive holoscreen, stars blinking out, ships vanishing, and above all, the red bloom that now crowned the galaxy like a death halo. What is it?" he whispered. Beside him, High Scribe Anil turned pale. "It is judgment. We buried them. We silenced their names. But the stars remember. The Empire was built on ash. Now the ash becomes flame." "Then we strike first," the Emperor growled, rising. "Deploy the Ether Lance. Bring down the anomaly before it reaches our core systems." "But sire," the scribe hesitated, "there's no target. The bleeding star is everywhere now. It's inside the light itself." General Kyra Valen had made her choice. As the vigilant flame entered low orbit around Carvan 4, she saw him, the boy, suspended in air, body glowing like the center of a newborn sun. She opened a direct channel. "Lior, if that is your name." He turned toward her voice. The stars behind him warped. "I know what they did," she continued. "I know the sovereignty built its throne from bones. I fought its wars, buried its secrets. But we're not all monsters. Help me stop this. Help me save what little remains." For a moment, silence. Then Lior descended slowly, feet touching cracked soil. The red storm paused in its spiral above. Kyra landed in a drop pod and stepped out, facing him. Just a woman now, without rank or shield. The two stood beneath a sky pulsing with ancient fury. "I am not the end," Lior said softly. "I'm only the beginning of the memory. The empires that forget the past must drown in it. But you don't have to burn everyone." His eyes, so old in a young face, locked with hers. "Then show me who is worth saving." The fall of the sovereignty was not a war, it was a forgetting. Stars where the empire had ruled dimmed and vanished. Worlds born in tyranny turned to silence. But not all perished. Led by General Kyra and the reborn Lior, a new alliance was born in the ashes, one that remembered the stars were not to be owned, only shared. The red storm faded, not in defeat, but in patience. For the stars will bleed again, when history is once more buried beneath the gold of power. But this time, the galaxy would remember.